does want to have a presence so that we can have some degree of oversight. So we have done that, but that is not sustainable. We need to move to another model. Instead of people calling 911, we're setting up a 311 system so that when motorists do see behaviors that they're concerned about, they can call 311, which is a response system, not a law enforcement system, where we can deploy the team to those corners to intervene with young people. We also need to work on just our young people's relationship with the downtown area. We have many instances where we see that young people really struggle with how to engage the downtown community, and the downtown community struggles with how to effectively engage with our young people who are also citizens of this city. And so the safety and well-being also includes some activities that welcome young people into the downtown area so that they understand that that is a part of their community. They're not just West Baltimore or East Baltimore children. They are children of all of Baltimore, and they should have access to all of the resources that this city has to offer. So we've got to bridge that gap and bridge those relationships. So that's a part of the safety and well-being plan. Support systems is all of these young people need a mentor. Too many of them are in situations where they don't have credible mentors, people who have a similar lived experience, who can be a part of their lives, help them navigate the challenges that they are facing. And we've got to activate those institutions who are responsible for these children. The mayor's office is responsible for the children, but so is the school system. So is our nonprofit community. And our parents. So we've got to activate everyone who is responsible for children and get them engaged in solving this problem. Barrier removal is really important because I don't think that people really understand how many unaccompanied minors we have involved in this industry. You would be surprised to know when people say, go get a job. Many of these young people don't have access to their Social Security cards, their birth certificates, or Maryland State ID. And when you are a minor, you can't get those things on your own. You need a parent to sign documentation to release those materials to you. And so we have to remove those barriers so that they can go to work. And finally, education. As the mayor has said, we want career paths for young people. The end goal is not squeegeeing, how to endorse it, how to prevent it. The end goal is how do we put young people who are at risk on a path to a better quality of life. And that does not happen on any corner in Baltimore. If you're standing on a corner, whether you're in downtown Baltimore or Pennsylvania North, you are cutting off your opportunities for a great quality of life. So education has to be at the core of what we do. We got to get young people back in school. We need to make sure that they aren't choosing to squeegee over getting an education. That's a short-term choice, and it's to the detriment of their future. And as you mentioned, work. At the end of the day, the reason the young people are on these corners is because to them this is work. They are getting up every day at the crack of dawn, and they're going to their work site. And you and I know that that's not appropriate for a young person. And so we've got to give them a viable option because many of these young people, they are the providers in their homes. They're responsible for the light bill. They're responsible for dinner being on the plate. They're responsible for the rent. And so that's an extraordinary and unfortunate position to put a minor in, to put a child in. And so if that is the situation that they're in, we need to have a mainstream work option available to them.
Do you plan on making squeegee illegal in Baltimore City? Because if you were to look at the story this morning on some of the other jurisdictions in Canada, specifically in New York, which happened 26 years ago, they pretty much made it illegal. And I'm not advocating locking people up, but what I am advocating is we know that they're going to have some that won't take advantage of the wonderful program that you have initiated, and they're going to still be on the corners. What do you do with them?
I can't, hey, Coach, this is Mayor Young. It is illegal to be in the street impeding moving traffic, but it's not illegal to stand on corners. per the ACLU.
Right. All right, but when you are, if you're just standing there, that's fine. But if you're approaching cars and you're debating with the motorists or threatening the motorists, then what?
I think we have to step back because for some reason we've made squeegeeing a subpopulation of panhandling. In Baltimore, we have
That's what it is, isn't it?
Yes, but we're not talking about all panhandling. There's this focus on a racially specific group of people, which we have to be very cautious of when you're talking about applying the law. Whenever you apply the law, it has to be applied universally. Number two, the mayor has been very clear that we have to stop the prison pipeline in this city. And so we have to think through other corrective actions beyond law enforcement, because that's to the detriment of our city. We've been locking up people for generations. And what has that
enough,
gotten us?
obviously. Not enough. And in all due respect, not enough. And,
well,
and
I would beg to differ.
Well, let me chime in. It's illegal to be in the street squeezing or doing any of that stuff, right?
Okay, great. Mm-hmm.
But we have this plan that we're trying to work through. We already met with a couple of them who said that's not really what they want to do. But like Ms. Edwards said, one guy talked about his friend told him it's time for him to start, contributing. And he was what, 17 years old, and the youngest one was like 15. If they do something criminal, they will be arrested. But if they just out there and people continue to give them money, we're working on that solution because I don't want them out there. And I'm on record as saying that. I don't want them out there, period. But I also don't want to lock up young black men.
Well, but no one is necessarily talking about locking them up first and foremost. I got that. But I'm going to go back to what you've said, and I support that, and I think a lot of the listeners don't want them out there. Okay, so you've done the large part in terms of having a viable option of employment and an opportunity, okay? But unfortunately, there are going to be some who won't take advantage of it, and it'll be business as usual. And so what methods will come up to remove them from being out there? Because, again, I'm echoing you, and I agree, they should not be out there.
Yes, we have to remember that the majority of these young people are ages 14 to 21. And so we have to have a response to children. And I think that what we have to remember is how do we as a city respond in a humane, appropriate, and legal way to support poor children?
Yes.
They don't want to be there. But when just as an example.
Not to cut you off. And they don't want to be there. And they said to us, well, they said to me, we're not dealing drugs.
Right. And just to humanize this a little bit, the mayor met with a group of young men, and one of those young men made a commitment to me that he was going to stop participating in squeegee activities. He was going to be involved in the program, and we had a path to move forward. That day when he went home, his lights were turned off. 1,200 words. He called me personally and said, Miss Edwards, I'm a man. He's 17. I'm a man of my word, but I got to do what I got to do. His electricity bill was $1,200. We immediately called the Department of Social Services, who said, great, you have a minor in the home, we will pay the electricity bill, but it takes 5 days to cut a check from the state. So I had to ask him, his mother, and his sister to stay in a home for 5 days with no electricity. And that's so I get that we don't think that, this is inappropriate and this is not good for Baltimore. But it's really important for everyone to understand nobody wakes up at 13 and says, I want to grow up to be a squeegee in the squeegee. That's not. So we have to get to the root cause. this is going to be a community response. I admire the mayor for taking on this issue, but this is not.
Pray, 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 your action. Then I put it in God's hands. He never leaves me, he keep me strong. He give me power to move on. He's the reason that I made it, that I made it through the storms. Still on a bad day, I won't cry.
That's keeping our young people on the corners and in danger's way. We're talking about the complete family. If the father's a drug addict, that affects the whole entire family. We want to get him his treatment and also treatment for the family. Find out if there's a problem in the family where the mom is not working or don't have a GED. We're talking about all of that. We're looking at a holistic approach. And once we heal the family, all those minute things are gone.
Let me just say this, Mr. Mayor. First of all, it seems to me that you've chosen the right person to sit in that position of director of the Office of Children and Families. My vibes are very strong. Also, I might ask you if you consider in your many travels, Mr. Mayor, on the corner of North and McCullough, there's a car wash that has been vacant for the last 15 years. And if you could have one of your folks look at that and see how that could possibly be interpreted as a work site as well. It's been vacant for 15 years, sitting right there, and nothing has happened with it. And it just seems to me, in lieu of getting some work done, it might be some location that could be used constructively in your plan. I'm sorry.
Senator, the city, I think that's privately owned, and the city don't want to be in the business of opening up car washes. We already have car wash with city cars. And the city is not going to be in the business of opening up a car wash. If there's somebody out there who want to be innovative and want to open up that car wash or can negotiate with the owner of that property, we'll support that.
Good.
We're not going to start a car wash. That's not happening. We got too many other things going on in the city.
Yes.
With higher crime rate, shootings and murders. That's the focus.
One last question from me, and maybe on your return you can go into more detail, but this morning, and this will probably be a story that we'll get to later, one of your colleagues on the council has proposed that the mayor come up with a crime plan every other year. Your thoughts on that?
Coach, unless the mayor is a law enforcement officer, he can put together a plan. But if you're not a law enforcement officer, it's up to the police commissioner and the mayor's office of crime prevention to create a plan. It's not a mayor's job to create a crime plan because he's not a law enforcement officer and wouldn't know how to put together that plan unless the plan is to lock up everybody.
Well, I'm assuming, and again, I don't know, I'm assuming that under the plan, whoever the mayor is would consult with the people who you mentioned, his or her chief and other folks to help him or her compile that plan. But I guess
I have done that. We're also working with our federal partners and our state partners. We got this strike force that Attorney Hall announced about a week or two ago, where they're going after the most violent criminals. And we also have our warrant apprehension task force working with the surrounding jurisdiction to come up with gun stat so we can share information to find out who has a gun, what they commit in these different parts of the state, so that we can be more targeted on these focusing that want to commit crimes every day. 2 or 3 murders a day. Makes absolutely no sense at all. None.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I'm mindful of the limitation on your schedule. Ms. Evans, if you find anything that you need for us to do using this venue, please call us and let us know.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your support. I appreciate the compliment. Keep us all in prayer. We're trying to do important work, and this is going to take a community effort. This is not something that we can do alone. So I'm going to take you up on that offer.
No problem.
Because the need is great.
Mr. Mayor, thank you so very much, good man.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Coach, and thank you, JJ. But like I said, I don't want them in the streets. They shouldn't be in the streets, and we're going to do everything within our power to try to keep them out of the streets.
If you missed the Larry and Warner show, JJ, adopt that last statement right there by the mayor.
Still on a bad day, I love God to the day I die. Still on a bad day, I won't lose my faith, I won't lose my faith. Still on a bad day, He knocked my enemies out of my way, way out of my ways. When I fall, He picks me up. His love is good enough. He's the reason that I'm here. With His light I can see so clear. Now I'm walking through the valley, I have no fear, because God is by my side, oh right here. Now no one in this world can hold me down. No matter what I face, I'm gonna stand my ground. Still on a bad day, I won't cry. Still on a bad day, I love God to the day I die. Still on a bad day, I won't lose my faith, I won't lose my faith. Still on a bad day, He knocked my enemies out of my way, way out of my way. My enemies are weak,
Thank you for listening. You heard the news on the Larry Young Morning Show. WOLB 1010 AM. The home of the Larry Young Morning Show. Good day, Baltimore.